There were a lot of virtual worlds in the late 2000s to early 2010s. A lot. We all had the one that we loved, the one that we sunk hours and hours of time to, grinding for that jacket or that cool house item. For me, it was fridges. But a common hobby of mine back then was seeking out any and every one that I could find. And there were a lot to find. Almost every company at the time was trying to find a way to cash in on the virtual world pie. A piece of the virtual world pie is what I meant. The point being though, there are a lot of virtual worlds that existed, and I played a lot of very weird ones. So recently I've been going back and trying to find some of the ones that I played back in the day to no avail. Have you ever played McWorld? What about babybottlepop.com? No? Damn, just me? Well, now you're never gonna, because both of them are completely lost media. So it really got me thinking about how many there was that are completely lost today. So I've put together this. This is the Lost Virtual Worlds Iceberg. At the top of the list, you'll find games that almost all of us know and played, down to the middle, where you'll find games that were more off the radar and obscure, but still loved by many, down to the bottom, where you'll find games that are either very, very obscure, completely lost, to ones that it's unclear if they actually even existed or not. So in this video, I'm going to be going through every single entry in this list, talking about what it was at the time and where it is today. Welcome to the longest video I have ever fucking made. Level 1. The Surface. This level is worlds that you probably already know. It's ones that everybody and anybody and their grandma and their dog and their cat and their uncle and their infant baby played. I don't think there's a single person who hasn't played at least 3 of these on this level. But for the sake of completion, I'm still gonna go through each one, just in case there's anyone who happens to not know one of them. Club Penguin. Do I really need to explain to you what Club Penguin is? Be serious. Club Penguin is definitely the most popular on this list by far, and it was also one of the first ever virtual worlds, and really is what established them as a concept. The creators' mission from the very start was to create a place that they'd be comfortable with their own kids going on. A place free from spam or offensive messages or invasive ads. I loved Club Penguin, and so did probably all of you watching. The parties, the games, the leveling up your belt in Karjitsu. For me, my favorite part that I miss the most though is the urban legends, tipping the iceberg, the rainbow puffle. There was a rainbow puffle in the game eventually, officially, but before that, there used to be a glitch where you could rapidly change which puffle you were walking. So it would go but, and it would look like it was a rainbow changing puffle. I found stuff like that so cool. I would constantly go on videos searching for legends and mysteries, secret rooms. It was so fun. The game just felt so mysterious to me. Like there could really be anything in there. But nothing lasts forever, and in 2017, Club Penguin servers shut down for good. Waddle on, my friends. Poptropica. Released in 2007 and based in Flash, Poptropica is a very unique virtual world. It's 2D and has a very cool 2D platforming and mystery solving focus. I couldn't think of a word. It was really, really cool, except they removed Sharktooth Island, so I actually hate it. Definitely my favorite part about the game though is the clothes stealing function. If you saw an NPC and you really liked the stuff he had on, you could just say, that looks pretty nice. I have just been informed they took this out. Also, its use of ads. Sometimes you can just be walking through a town, and you go to the next bit of the town and, oh, Super Monkey Ball. Okay. Poptropica is still available and fully playable today with the exception of some islands. Go play it. Webkinz. Webkinz is a website that links up with real-world physical plushies. Like him. This was my Webkin. Reindeer. That's his actual name. I'm very creative. How Webkinz worked is you bought a plushie that came with a code that you could enter in online and you could have your pet virtually. You could then feed them and dress them up and decorate your house. There were a lot of Webkinz. Here are some of my favorites. I especially love this fish. Why does he look like that? It also kind of helped teach kids a bit of responsibility, in a way. Your Webkin was like a real pet. You had to care for it, bathe them, wash them, feed them, make sure they didn't die. I had another Webkin called Fish. He was a fish. And I remember I entered him in and signed him up, and then right after that lost my account. So he's definitely dead. I'm sorry, Mr. Fish. He's also around here somewhere, but I couldn't find him. Wait. Mr. Fish? Wait, what? I just found another Mr. Reindeer. Okay, what the fuck? I swear to God. I think one is my brother's. I hope. I might have just found the Webkinz duplication glitch. Webkinz can still be played today, and they have this new really weird 3D spin-off game that looks really bad. Don't play that one. Moshi Monsters. Moshi Monsters was another pet-based kind of virtual world, but you'd also kind of play as them. You'd play as them in the overworld and in mini-games and stuff. There was also secondary pets called moshlings. Moshlings were very normal creatures, like pandas or starfish, a ghost, teeth, a drum, an iPhone, and a bus. And Lady Gaga, kind of. It was actually Lady Goo Goo, who may or may not have been a reference to this person. Either way, Lady Gaga sued them, and it was this whole thing, but that's a whole nother video. If you want to know more about that, here's a really good video by Izzy's covering the whole thing. Moshi Monsters launched in 2008 and ran all the way till 2019. But if you still want to play, there are fan rewrittens available today. Habbo Hotel. Habbo Hotel is very special. It's one of the oldest virtual worlds on here. It came out before even Club Penguin in 2000. This is a pre-9/11 virtual world. This one I don't know a lot about. I never really played it. It came out before I was even born. But from what I can tell, it was very beloved by those who did play it back in the day. Habbo is a 2.5D world with a very charming pixelated art style. You can create your own avatar, play games, and also build your own rooms. It also came out in the 2000s, back before any kind of web moderation, and was not meant for children necessarily, more for teenagers to young adults. So it has a lot of stories about harassment, raiding, gambling, scamming, killing, not killing. I'm not saying that's all the game was, of course not. That was probably a very small piece of what Habbo was, and definitely not what it is today. But it is kind of funny to look at those stories. It's a good kind of lens into what the internet was back then. A lawless wasteland where anything and everything went. Habbo laid the groundwork for the definition of what a virtual world is, and is still completely playable 23 years later today. Animal Jam. I don't know a single thing about Animal Jam. I never had friends who played it. I never knew a single human soul who ever played Animal Jam. From what I can tell though, Animal Jam was another pet-based virtual world where you played as the pet you chose and you could dress them up, play games with them, customize their house. But the main cool thing about it was its focus on the real world. In-game you can find all kinds of animal facts around the world, and its all-around goal is to encourage kids to learn about animals and the outdoors. And I think that is very cool. Animal Jam is still available today, though in a new installer-based version. Movie Star Planet. Again, I did not play this one. I am a boy, and I do boy things, like play in the mud and have a Frozen picture by my bed. But the premise is pretty straightforward. It is a world where you get to be a movie star. You get to design your own movie star with all kinds of fashion and pizzazz. You can also decorate your room, play games, and meet other movie stars. Movie Star Planet is kind of still available today. Its original Flash version is completely gone, but you can still play what looks to be the original, but remade in Unity and only for mobile. There's also a sequel, Movie Star Planet 2, and Block Star Planet. I don't think they're doing that well. Neopets. Neopets is an interesting one because it's not even really a world, so to say. In fact, there's actually an entry lower on this list about a proper, different spin-off world they were trying to make. Neopets is also the oldest world on this list, coming out in 1999. Because it came out so early, it lacks a lot of the features that more modern sites have, like customization and a overworld to navigate. There still is kind of an overworld where you can click on different places to visit, but you're not there with people. It's not a server. You can still add friends on Neopets, but it's a lot less of a social platform. A more accurate description of Neopets would be a flash game site with pets, but with RPG elements like items and shops that have shared inventory between your client and everybody else's. So I guess it was a virtual world, just not visually. But you still have a pet that you feed and take care of and customize. You still play games to earn virtual currency and buy stuff. And it was very beloved by all who played it back then, which again was not me. Well, actually I did, I think, for maybe a few days, but that fucker is definitely dead now. I did not think this video would have a kill count. Toontown. When I was making this list, I kind of had a rule that whatever game I found had to exist within a browser in order to be featured. And Toontown breaks that rule, but it easily meets all the other criteria for what a virtual world really is. Toontown is a virtual world where you can create your own toon and explore the toon world. You can meet up with Disney characters and team up with them to fight against the Cogs, who are the main villain in the game. They're gray and gross businessmen who want to turn the whole Toon world into a business, which is kind of ironic because Toontown itself is made by executives who do want to use it as a business. I always found that a little bit funny. Toontown was definitely more of an RPG than any other game on this list, with full turn-based combat, items, and health, but it was also the same amount virtual world, with all of the social features like any other. You can meet people in the world, design a house, add friends, customize your character with different items. It was a really cool premise and very beloved by many. Same thing with this one, I'm pretty sure I downloaded it, then couldn't figure it out and never played it again. I had a bit of a habit of doing that. It began in 2003 and ran for 10 years all the way till 2013 when it shut down. But it still today has a very active and passionate fan base that helps run tons of community servers and rewrites bustling with players. So if you want to try it out, there's never been a better time than now. We are only at tier 2 of this list, so if you need to take a break, go and get some coffee, go and get a snack, feel free to. I'm gonna go eat Subway. I do love sandwiches, but you know what I love even more? Level 2. Now things start to get interesting. You probably knew almost everything on that previous tier. Those were sites that almost everybody played and everybody knew, no matter who they were, no matter how internety they were. Now we have sites that were still very played, but a lot more obscure and off the radar for most people. UB Funkies. This is another break in my must be in a browser rule, and that's because I loved this one as a kid. UB Funkies was one of the first ever toy-to-life games like Skylanders or Amiibos. It came with a hub, a big Funky, that you would then put littler Funkies into the top of. You would swap out for other Funkies to complete certain objectives, to play different mini games, or even to access certain areas in the game. I fucking loved UB Funkies, and I have no idea why. I think a part of it also was how gatekeepy it might have felt. Like I said, there was certain parts of the world that you needed to have specific physical Funkies in order to enter. So not being able to go in there, and then getting a Funky and going in there and seeing what you were missing, that was just a feeling of euphoria. One that I am yet to encapsulate again. Also, there was a Speed Racer tie-in, and then never another tie-in with any other franchise ever again. So there was just permanently this Speed Racer section of the map. So that was cool. UB Funkies wasn't even really a virtual world. You could walk around a world, but you were never on a server and you could never meet other people. But you could still add them and play games with them, and most importantly, visit their house. So for that, I think it counts. UB Funkies ceased production in 2010, but if you still find a hub and some figures, you can still download it and play it today. There is a small but dedicated community who's made a ton of different tools in order to run the game and play it without physical Funkies at all. But that's a whole nother rabbit hole. If you're interested, I'll leave a link to some resources in the description. It's some amazing work, but it is still a lot of fun to stick them in this guy's head. Build-A-Bearville.com. Build-A-Bearville was very similar in concept to Webkinz, and some might say is even a copy. Some other than me, of course. With the difference being, obviously, instead of Webkinz, it used Build-A-Bear stuffies. Each Build-A-Bear would come with a code that you can enter on Build-A-Bearville to bring your fluffy friend into the virtual world. Unlike Webkinz though, you could also customize your own personal character, separate from your plushie. You could also have a house, play games, earn and spend currency, you know, the usual. It began in 2008 and ran all the way till 2015 when it shut down for good. No remakes or rewrittens exist for it, and it is currently completely lost. Oh wait, I did find this. It's not a full remake, but it does let you play some of the mini games that were in the game. I just said game like 8 times. Pixie Hollow. Disney, on top of owning Club Penguin and Toontown, owned a couple more virtual worlds. This isn't even the last. And one of them was Pixie Hollow, a 2D pixie virtual world, where you could design a pixie or a Sparrow Man. Sparrow Man? Why can't he just be a boy pixie? You could interact with others, play minigames, shop, dress up, complete quests, you know. But Pixie Hollow also had a very unique feature. Pixie Hollow Clickables were a completely optional, real-world companion toy for the game. They came in the form of necklaces, bracelets, jewelry boxes, and when linked to a computer would give you special items in-game. But that's not even the coolest part. If you had the friendship bracelet and you found someone else who also had one, if you touched them together, it would add each other on Pixie Hollow. That is so sick! If you're wondering how, it would log the other player's name, and the next time it was connected to a computer, it would add them on your account. I'm not sure how much this feature was actually used. If you had a friend who played Pixie Hollow, chances are you already had them added on the game, but it's really cool you could do it nonetheless. Pixie Hollow ran from 2008 to 2013, but fan rewrittens do still exist if you still want to play. You cannot use the bracelet anymore though. Sad. BarbieGirls.com. BarbieGirls.com was a place to dress up, play games, make a house, you know. Virtual World, but obviously this time Barbie themed and very pink. Obviously most of the games and locations were very girly themed with a spa, a hair salon, shops, malls, buses. No mud in this one. BarbieGirls.com also had a physical toy tie-in, but it was not nearly as cool as Pixie Hollow's. This one had a MP3 player you could buy. It didn't give you any in-game items, but it did give you 6 months free membership if you bought one. And it was about the same price as 6 months membership anyways, so it was kind of a pretty good deal. From what I can find, this MP3 player on its own is pretty infamous for being worth less than garbage, but it did come preloaded with this funky groove.
Who do you wanna be? B-A-R-B-I-E. Do you wanna be the girl who's dancing, laughing, sharing with your friends?
Fucking hell yeah. BarbieGirls.com shut down in 2011 and currently no fan remakes exist. LittlestPetShopOnline.com. LittlestPetShopOnline.com, or LPSO for short, was another toy tie-in world. And it was made partially by EA. What the fuck? You had to buy an LPSO pet, which came with a code that let you log in. From there you could customize your character, meet friends, play games. Virtual World. And that's about it. I couldn't find too much different or interesting about this one, but look at this ad for it. I miss these ads so much. The ads were like they'd be playing with their toy, then they'd be going on the computer. It excited me so much as a kid. Computer. Maybe I'm just nostalgic for the phrase, ask your parents before going online, but I miss it. LittlestPetShopOnline.com ran from 2009 to 2011, and no fan remakes or rewrittens currently exist. Jumpstart Games. This is actually 2 games in one because they're both about the same. Jumpstart is a company that makes games for learning and education aimed at very young kids. And in the 2000s, they tried their hand at virtual worlds. Again, I'm breaking my must be in a browser rule. There was World of Jumpstart and Math Blasters. Both had their own theme but carried the same goal of being a safe game for kids to interact in. I never played this one as a kid, but I did play it a couple months ago. The 2 games only went down in June of this year, giving them both a lifespan of 15 years. That's not too bad. It is a game meant for very, very young children, so I couldn't find any weird dramas or funny stories with this one. But if you played it and there is some kind of cool lore I'm missing, let me know down in the comments. I would literally love to hear about it. Oh, that's it. Level 3. Now we're getting deep. These are not virtual worlds for the faint of heart. These are extremely serious virtual worlds. Bin Weevils was a virtual world that features Weevils. Design your own Weevil and go to Weevilville. Oh yeah, bin also isn't just a funny word in front of Weevils. This is a British game. So the bin in Bin Weevils means actual trash garbage. The whole game is themed around trash garbage. So you can find all kinds of things hidden around the map, like orange peels and mold. If you're from the UK at all, you're probably wondering why I put this so deep in the iceberg. But over here across the pond, I, nor anyone I have ever met has ever played or even mentioned Bin Weevils. But now researching it, it looks like it was fucking huge. I completely memed it in the beginning, but this was no small virtual world. They had thousands of players, tons of games and customization, a bunch of fun things to do, plus a bunch of brand tie-ins with things like Furby, Transformers, and My Little Pony. Some My Little Pony Season 2 episodes premiered exclusively on Bin Weevils in the UK. What the fuck? Yeah, Bin Weevils was no joke, and it seems like a lot of care went into it. It had a long, healthy life starting in 2007 and only getting discontinued in 2022. How does it feel knowing you could have been playing Bin Weevils this whole time? I'm pretty disappointed. But fear not, there is a Bin Weevils rewritten if you do want to play. Nicktropolis. Nicktropolis was Nickelodeon's virtual world. It was kind of Habbo inspired, but obviously with a complete Nickelodeon theme. It was orange and slimy green. It had Nickelodeon show themed items, but the cool thing that they also had was NPCs of the show characters that you could go meet out in the world with other players. You could meet them, buy items and clothes from them, and also interact with them. They would obviously just give little auto-gen responses, but that's still, for a kid, very, very cool. I know I would have lost my shit meeting Danny Phantom. It launched in 2007 and went all the way till 2014, and other than a few videos and screenshots, it is completely lost media. Cartoon Network Mini-Match. Cartoon Network Mini-Match was kind of the same thing as Nicktropolis, only even less is known about it. It was Cartoon Network's own virtual world, complete with all the Cartoon Network characters of the time: Ben 10, Kids Next Door, Blue. Not much is known about the game other than a few screenshots and unregistered hypercam videos. It ran from 2007 to 2009, but unlike Nicktropolis, it actually died for a pretty good reason. From its ashes arose Cartoon Network Fusion Fall, a much bigger, much more ambitious, full-on downloadable MMORPG. I never played either of them, but they both look really cool. Well, Fusion Fall does at least. I don't really know what you did in Mini-Match. Maybe matched? something. Fusion Fall had complete missions and environments, NPCs and weapons, all in the style of Cartoon Network characters and environments. But it too eventually shut down in 2013. But if you still want to play it, there is an unofficial fan project still running that can be downloaded right now. Tomatown. This one is another that is not really a virtual world, but I already started researching it because I thought it was, so it's staying on here. It was one of those games that kind of had a hub world and kind of environments that interconnected different Flash games, but there were no characters, accounts, or any way of putting yourself in the world. It did have a pretty cool feature though. If you found or earned items throughout the world, the items would give you a code that you can enter in on your actual Tamagotchi to receive them on there. That sounds pretty fucking cool. It ran a pretty fucking long time, from 2006 to 2013. Some of the Flash files are still available for some games and some environments, but for the most part, the game is mostly lost. Wii World. Wii World was a decently popular one that I had no idea about till now. It featured these very, for lack of a better term, South Park looking characters called Weemies.
Weemy.
It's another one of those that was targeted at tweens as a place to hang out. It was a cool one. But this one is special. Do you know why it's special? This is why.
Hey, what's up? It's yours truly, Jason Derulo. Please check out my Wii Me on WeWorld.com.
Okay, Jason Derulo, no problem. This is real. WeWorld would often have celebrities create their own Weemies, who would walk around the world like NPCs. And wait, hold on, is that Hillary Clinton next to Hayley Williams? There was also very much celebrity items and clothing for sale. They also had deals with Microsoft, Skype, AOL, and Hotmail to have Weemies as official icon options. All of this for a world that, I'm not gonna lie, looks a little bit uncanny to me. Crazy. Weemies began in 2002 and lasted all the way till fucking 2017. That is crazy. World of Cars Online. Like I said, Disney had a lot of virtual worlds under their belt. The main ones were Toontown and Club Penguin, but the other ones it seems like nobody ever talks about. This is World of Cars Online, a virtual world based on Lightning McQueen and friends that I somehow didn't find as a kid. I fucking loved cars. I loved cars. And somehow, out of all of them, this is the one I didn't play. It looked really cool though. You could race your friends, explore Radiator Springs, make your own car, and get reverse sponsored, where instead of them paying you, you pay them. The membership was called getting sponsored. It actually released pretty late for a virtual world, coming out in 2010, 4 years after Cars 1 released and 2 years before Cars 2 would release. It actually only lasted 2 years, closing down the same year that Cars 2 came out. There are no fan recreations, but if anyone would like to, the entire game source code is available. McWorld. McDonald's also dipped their toes into the virtual world craze that was happening. This is another one that I actually played back in the day. The gimmick here was at the time you would get an M code with every Happy Meal. An M code was a special code that you could enter in on McWorld to get special items in game. I remember whatever franchise that was the current Happy Meal toy would always make some kind of appearance and have some kind of item that was obtainable in game. So it was very cool always seeing different recognizable characters in that world. I remember there was some kind of emphasis on iCarly too. I'm not sure what. I just remember seeing that logo all the time. I think at least. I was like 10 at the time. Yeah, there it is. It was also very kid-friendly. I, as a child, was infamous among my parents for just signing up for shit. I loved signing up for shit. I lived for it. When I got my own email, all I did for a week straight was sign up for shit, and I'm still paying the price. But McWorld didn't require an email to make an account, just a username and a password, which is really nice for parents, but if you lose your password, you're just kind of fucked. I remember I showed the game to my dad, and he was like, "Oh, so you put all of our fucking info into this McDonald's game." And I was so proud to be like, "Nope. This is McDonald's, Dad. They care." McWorld ran from 2008 till 2014 and is completely lost other than a few screenshots and videos. A few! There is more in my memory than there is archived of this game. That is insane. Club BK. Club BK was the exact same thing as McWorld, but way lamer. Sorry, Club BK fans. Oh, that's okay. We know it sucks. It was 2D and had way less things to do, but it did have Iron Man. I don't even know how long it ran because it was even more obscure than McWorld. There's not even a Lost Media wiki page. All I could find was these screenshots and a few videos. My Coke. My Coke was obviously a Coke virtual world that I might have played, I'm not sure. I definitely went on the site, I don't know if I ever signed up. And it actually seemed pretty cool. At first glance, it kind of looks like a complete Habbo Hotel ripoff, which it is, except with a lot of Coke-themed items, but it had this focus on music. You could create your own music in a Club Penguin kind of way with a little game and then play it in your house for all to listen to. I think that is just nifty. Level 4. Now, this is where things start to get a little bit interesting. You likely haven't played any of these, and now you never will, because everything in this tier is now completely lost media. Except for a few of them, actually, I found out. Babybottlepop.com. Babybottlepop.com is another corporate cash grab at the virtual world trend and is completely lost today. I actually played this one. Like I said, I fucking loved any kind of world that I could log into. Looking at the few bits of images and videos that there are, it definitely was not that good. But it just felt so cool back then. Logging into these sites, like I was really logging in to see the real life baby bottle world. There's not really anything else to say about this one. You get a code, you make a baby, and there's a store called Soggy Bottom. What else do you want? Disney's Virtual Magic Kingdom. Disney's Virtual Magic Kingdom was another virtual world similar to Habbo Hotel, but this time set in the Disney parks. I need to pee. All else is pretty much extremely similar to Habbo. You could get items to customize your character, customize rooms to invite friends into, you know, the works. And also, of course, explore the Disney parks virtually. One cool thing it did have though is when you sign up, you get one free room off the bat to decorate. But if you signed up while you were physically in a Disney park, you got the amazing prize of 2 free rooms. How fucking generous. It ran from 2005 all the way till 2008 and is now lost media. But there's a full fan recreation called MyVMK that you can play right now. Kung Fu Panda World. Kung Fu Panda World was a Kung Fu Panda world. Wow, really? That released 2 years after the original movie came out. What is with these companies and releasing games so long after the movie? Kids move on. I did. I never played this and I loved Kung Fu Panda. Not as much as Cars though. Not nearly as much. The game was a pretty straightforward virtual world. The map was based around all major locations from the movie. You could play games and customize your panda, but it also had sashes you could upgrade, kind of like Karjitsu in Club Penguin. The game only lasted 2 years and in 2012 was taken off the site. And with no rewrites or access to the assets, it is now lost media. Super secret. I put this one down here because it's a super secret. Super Secret was a 2D tween hangout site. There were a lot of these types of sites and they all kind of look very similar. What made Super Secret special though was its aging. Super Secret's gimmick was that you started out as a 10-year-old and you could get older as you played. Just like real life. Your age was pretty much just your level, it seemed, but it's a cool little way to spin it, I guess. That's not all that special about this one though. It had a big controversy when it was sold to the company Jumpstart. The same Jumpstart that we talked about earlier on. In a nutshell, they pretty much scrapped the entire game and remade it in 3D to be essentially the same game as their pre-existing World of Jumpstart, but of course with different items and environments and the same tween hangout vibe. Fans were not happy and nobody likes this new game. There is a lot more to this story. If you want to find out more, Izzy's has a great video covering the whole thing right here. This video is also the only reason that I know this site is a thing in the first place. Thank you, Izzy. Mewcheese. Mewcheese was a virtual world that again paired with a physical handheld. The whole gimmick was that you could play minigames on the handheld and earn currency that you could use inside the virtual world, which is pretty cool. The virtual world itself looked kinda bad, I can't lie to you. It featured the standard stuff, shops, customizations, minigames, socialization. I never played Mewcheese, but from what I can tell, it looks kind of soulless, so to speak. But I don't know, maybe it was good. You could get one of 3 different Mewcheese. Mewcheese Monsters, Mewcheese Paws, and they even had Mewcheese Brats. All with different minigames and different avatars for the virtual world when you plug the game into your computer. It launched in 2006 and stayed afloat until 2012 when it was shut down, and it is now lost media. But there is a recreation project in what seems like development. It doesn't seem to be updated often, but the developer still seems to be active with all kinds of Mewcheese activities. I'll leave a link to it in the description if you want to check it out. Minimonos. Minimonos was a monkey virtual world. Holy shit, that monkey is fucking fly. The game was kind of like Animal Jam, in that it teach kids about helping the planet. All of the games and theming were all made to help kids learn about how they can help the environment. Like any other virtual world, you could still make friends and talk with other monos in rooms, deck out your character and treehouse. Their treehouse. They're monkeys. Even a lot of the items and furniture available were based on environmentally friendly real-world items like the wind turbine and solar panels. A portion of each membership purchase would also go to charity as well. It was a really well-intentioned game, and from the few pictures and videos out there of it, it seemed really cool. It began in 2009 and by 2012 had over 1 million players. It even had comics and merchandise, but despite all of that, other than a few screenshots and videos, the game and website had become almost completely lost after the game shut down in 2013. Rest well, you beautiful beautiful monkey game. Little Space Heroes, later rebranded to Space Hero Universe. Little Space Heroes was an Australian virtual world where you joined a space academy and got trained to use dangerous space equipment. For you see, Lord Shadowbot, an evil robot, has stolen away all of the glows, a new race of creatures that produce light and energy. You have to find all of the glows and restore balance to the universe. Or you could just go to the hair salon. Kind of like Club Penguin, it had a bit of a story built in, with missions and quests you could do to progress. But on top of that, it was also just your run-of-the-mill virtual world. Character customization, houses, pets, which are actually the glows that you look for, and all the rest of the usual virtual world stuff. One thing that stood out to me though is you can fly with your jetpack in the overworld, and you can go as high as you want, it seems. That is fucking sick. Jetpacks are fucking sick. It was pretty successful though, with a peak of over 2 million players at one point, merchandise, and even an official card game at one point, apparently. But despite all of that, it closed its doors 4 years after it launched in 2011. Pirates of the Caribbean Online. Pirates of the Caribbean Online was a swashbuckling, wondrous adventure. Meet Jack Sparrow. You can sail the 7 seas, sail on a pirate ship. Meet all kinds of pirate friends, like William, Captain Jack, and new special guest, Uncle Antonio. It was an MMORPG style virtual world, where you could create your own pirate, have your own ship, and go on quests to beat enemies, talk to NPCs like Jack Sparrow or William Turner, or Uncle Antonio. Find treasure, fight or befriend other players, and all around just get swashbuckling. It's pretty much everything you'd expect from a Pirates of the Caribbean game, and it overall seemed very good, especially for its time. It was originally supposed to launch with the second Pirates of the Caribbean movie, Dead Man's Chest, in 2006, but it was delayed till 2007 and ran all the way till 2013 when it became Pirates of the Caribbean Offline.
Oh, boo! Shut up, we hate you!
But a group of very dedicated fans have made The Legends of Pirates Online a full recreation of the game as it was in 2007. Plus, brand new original stuff that they've made from scratch. Yar har to these guys. Level 5. This is the second last tier. These are games that almost nobody played, and some games that were rumored or announced, but never ended up coming out. Glitch. Glitch is a very unique one. It was a 2D side-scroller, I guess you'd call it, that featured some RPG-ish things like crafting and gathering of items, and also some very unique features. Along with the other virtual world things like customizable characters and quests, apparently players could also do things that would change the public world for everybody. Kind of like a Minecraft server. So you could do things like build towers, art pieces, set up stores, sell items, build penises. I never played it, so I don't know much about it, but from the sounds of it, it sounds really cool. It started in 2009 and was loved all the way till 2012 when it shut down. But from the ashes arose something else. The company who created it, TinySpec, took the framework for Glitch and turned it into the now very popular businessy messaging app, Slack. So every time you use Slack, remember, you are technically playing a piece of Glitch. Wow, this is so fun. Upper Deck U. Upper Deck U was a baseball virtual world, a baseball card themed virtual world, sorry. You could play baseball themed games, walk around a baseball world, make a baseball guy. It's a baseball virtual world. On specially marked packages of Upper Deck baseball cards, you would also get a code that you could redeem in-game items with. I played this one as well. I don't know why. I don't like baseball. In fact, if you take the average person and how much they like baseball, I like baseball even less than that. So I'm not sure why I wanted to go on here, but I did, and I did. I logged in, made myself a baseball man, walked around the baseball world, and then went to bed and never touched the game again. I never said I played it for long. They also sometimes had professional baseball players make their own NPCs and hold live Q&As from inside the game. That's a pretty cool thing. Here's a video of Derek Jeter doing one. I don't know who that is, but if you're a baseballer, that might be cool. Upper Deck U started in... Holy shit. Upper Deck U. Like Upper Deck U. Like you. Like you. Like... I just realized what that meant. Oh my god. Upper Deck U started in 2009 and balled its way all the way till its closure in... I have no idea. There is so little documented about this game, I couldn't even find the exact year that it closed. But judging by other virtual worlds that were around the same size, it's likely that it wasn't up for more than a couple years. Tales of Neopia. Tales of Neopia was supposed to be a fantasy spin-off world of Neopets, but unfortunately it died before it ever lived. It was announced in 2008 and was worked on what looks like extensively right up until 2010, when it was inexplicably completely cancelled. It doesn't seem like there's a lot known about this world or what it would have been like, but there is a lot of concept art. There's everything from initial sketches to interface designs to this video of this fat purple guy. There's a lot. There's no specifics of gameplay or what could have been done, but we can get a pretty good idea from these images. It looks like it would have been more than just a social world and would have featured some kind of story as well as full-on RPG elements like quests, combat, health, items, and from these images it honestly looks really cool. It also looks like it got pretty far into development before it got sacked. Sheraram, aka Roly Poly Land. This one's a weird one. I'm not even sure I fully understand this one. In Russia, there was a show called Kiko Riki, and in the US, it was changed to Gogo Riki. Have you heard of it? I have! I never actually watched the show, but I used to watch the infamous 4Kids network all of the time that aired a lot of international shows, and I remember the intro distinctly. Sheraram was a virtual world based around Kiko Riki with a heavy Club Penguin influence and ball-shaped characters. It was called Sheraram in Russia, but in North America, it was rebranded to Roly Poly Land. And it also seems to be stripped of most of its Kiko Riki branding. I think, at least. Maybe it's still present in the game somehow in the North American version, but from most of the branding and promotional stuff, the characters are still there sometimes. They just never seem to be referred to by name. They're just kind of Roly Poly Land mascots, it seems. It has no mention of Kiko Riki or Gogo Riki, which I guess kind of makes sense. Kiki or Gogo Riki was not a popular cartoon in the US, but it's still really weird to see the two worlds. One a brand and one just kind of a brandless ball of guy. Anyways, the game is again a pretty standard virtual world. Play game, meet friend, buy clothes, buy house, buy cool stool, the works. It started in 2012 and ran all the way till... Wait, what? You can still play this today! The English version of Roly Poly Land seems to be long gone, but sheraram.ru is still up and running, and is completely accessible as long as you have a Russian VK account. That is crazy. That is like the last one that I ever thought would still be up. Google Lively. Google is very known for making all kinds of experiments, and in 2008 they tried their hand at a virtual world with Google Lively, and was it ever lively? Wow, I've never seen such energy. Google Lively was pretty cool. You could create your own worlds that people could visit, and you could fill them with things that you like different items and furniture, but also custom photos, and since it was Google, YouTube videos. You could display videos on the wall like pictures. This kind of reminds me of Gmod in a way. I think because I found a video of a guy making a giant ass tower, but it's similar in that you could make a world and invite people to it. You could also interact with things in the world, like items and also other players, through joint emotes, kind of like TF2. Like that. I don't know why I did that. However cool it was, the coolness was short-lived. Google is very known for making experiments and also taking them down. Google Lively was launched in July of 2008 and was up for 6 months and closed down in December of 2008. I think that is the shortest lasting virtual world on this entire list. SpongeBob Town. SpongeBob Town is another world cancelled before it could see the light of day. It was announced in 2010 and got very far into development, and even had some public tests in 2012. But for unknown reasons, it was cancelled sometime before 2013. The game was, as you'd think, a SpongeBob virtual world where you could create what I thought would be maybe like some custom fish avatar, but no. You can customize your own SpongeBob, Patrick, or Squidward with different colors and hairstyles. That's really weird. I don't know why they would do that. You could visit locations from the show, buy things at the mall, customize your house or farm, which had an indoor and outdoor portion, as well as play mini games to get clams. There's also screenshots of this crazy cart minigame with full cart customization. Maybe not full, that's a strong word. Like I said, this game was cancelled in 2012 and is completely lost media. But there is a ton of images, trailers, and gameplay even. If you want to know more about it, I recommend this video by C&B Extras detailing everything it was supposed to be. Pokio World. This is one of the few virtual worlds I've seen that's more aimed at younger kids rather than the tween demographic. Pokio World was a virtual world based on the hit Spanish TV show Pokio. I never played this one, but I did watch Pokio because it had dubs in Britain and Canada. Look at this guy Pato the Duck from Pokio, I love him. This is related to nothing, but I just wanted to bring him up. On Pokio World, you could create your own custom Pokio character, adopt pets like this octopus. Look at this octopus. Play very rudimentary games as it was aimed at preschoolers, and explore the Pokio world and environments. Which is kind of weird because in Pokio, there is no world. Pocoyo is set in a blank white void for most of the time. There's more of a city in this game than there is in the actual show. It seemed really charming though. It was faithful to the Pocoyo art style and even had a ton of custom games that weren't jarring for younger kids to wrap their head around. All in all, it seemed like a lot of passion went into it. It started in 2009 and ran all the way until 2018. Even though it closed relatively recently, it is still today completely lost media. Apart from the mini games from the world still being available at Pocoyo.com today, when these games are exited, they even still prompt you with a link to go back to PocoyoWorld.com. Level 6, The Abyss. Anything in this tier is completely lost. Club Penguin servers are still up. This one is a complete lie. I just put this one here for fun. I did hear a rumor somewhere that when Club Penguin shut down, the servers were still up for a while, just sitting there empty with no one in them, but I have no way to credit that, and I don't think that's true. I just find that concept so eerie and cool though. Imagine joining one of those servers and seeing this place that used to be bustling with penguins coming and going and meeting new friends, to seeing it now just empty. There's also a rumor I saw somewhere that there's a private server that is only for the Disney staff, but I have no idea where I heard that either. Crash Bandicoot Village. In 2007, Crash of the Titan was released on major consoles, and to help promote it, Naughty Dog created a virtual world. You could walk around different Crash areas, talk to other Crash crazy heads, that's what I'm gonna call Crash Bandicoot fans, and you could even throw Wumpa Fruit at each other, kind of like Club Penguin snowballs. You made your character in this game by combining different body parts of different Crash Bandicoot characters. That's kind of cool, I like that. Look at this guy. You little freak of nature. This game was created primarily to promote the actual console Crash Bandicoot game, with a constant where to buy button in the top right. But it seemed okay. You could play rock, paper, scissors with people in the rooms, and it had a bunch of mini games. Like I said, it started in 2007 and was used to promote Crash of the Titans, and was also used for Crash Mind Over Mutant in 2008. It lasted 3 more years before being discontinued in 2011. Me Too. Me Too was another physical toy tie-in world. It required a Me Too device that you could load different minigames on and also granted you access to the Me Too universe. That was what the virtual world was called. This little Game Boy-esque looking device also doubled as a pedometer, and with every step you took, you earned points that you could use in the Me Too universe. I thought this was fucking sick as a kid, and for my 8th birthday, I unboxed my very own Me Too. I went and got the game downloading, ran a couple laps around my backyard, plugged it in, and finally got to see the Me Too universe. And it kind of sucked. Maybe I was just a dumb 9-year-old who couldn't figure out how to navigate the menus, but I was also the target demographic. I never figured out how to do this, but like I said, you could spend your points from walking on various things in game, like clothing, hairstyles, and pets, but no houses. What the fuck? All of that seems cool in concept, but if there's nothing to do in the world and there's nobody around to show it off to, then what's really the point? Then again, I did play it, but I don't have a lot of experience with the game. I gave it an honest shot maybe once or twice, but after not being able to figure out what to do, I kinda lost interest in it. It launched in 2008 and was shut down at an unknown date in 2010, and it is now completely lost media. The only proof that it even existed at all is a couple promotional images from the website, 2 TV commercials, and a lady demoing it at the New York Toy Fair. And these textures. Stay tuned. Club Time Machine. This is the first one that I don't know if it actually existed. I was looking through virtual worlds trying to find as many as I could find when I stumbled upon this image. Promotional art for what appears to be a site called clubtimemachine.com, an obvious nod to Club Penguin. Upon further investigation, I found nothing else on the entire internet related to this site. I gave it a search on the Wayback Machine where it is archived, but no images or media were saved, just text. But even with this limited amount of information, we can still form a bit of a picture of what this site was. Here is what we do know. The archive site sometimes loads in English and sometimes loads in Dutch, and the company address listed is a town near Amsterdam, so we know that the game was created in the Netherlands. The currency in-game is called gold nuggets, and the avatars you played as were called hoovers. Isn't that like a vacuum over there? From the images that we do have, we can kind of also piece together what the game was. There's images of what is probably environments you could go to and what appears to either be gameplay or concepts of gameplay, as well as what the characters looked like in various different outfits. On the website was also the credentials of the company who produced Club Time Machine, a company by the name of V-World Corporation. I tried Googling for them but only found some British IT company. I fucking love this shit. A website that so clearly existed and so many kids probably played has now almost no evidence of it ever existing. How can that happen? How is that possible in this internet age that we live in? And that's not even the only one. Pepsi Town. Pepsi Town is another example of this. You would think that being a large corporation, any kind of Pepsi product would be largely documented and archived. But not this time. Pepsi Town was what looks to be a Pepsi virtual world similar to and probably in response to mycoke.com. And these are the only 3 images on the entire internet of it. I wasn't even 100% sure that this game ever actually existed, but then I found one video of it, of a guy actually playing and chatting to someone. Okay, so the game is actually real, and it was available to the public at some point. So where do we go now? Well, all of the media we do have is in French, so I think it's safe to assume that the game was probably created, or at least released primarily in some kind of French-speaking country. More than likely France. If you way back the domain, you can get into the old website as well, but everything ran in Flash and none of the Flash files have been archived. I think, at least, like this just doesn't seem right, that I can't find any of this information. Am I not looking somewhere? Is there some French search engine that just has a reserve of Pepsi Town images? I feel kind of silly saying this, because it seems like there should be more documents of these websites somewhere, but as far as I have found, there's not. But at least we can see a bit of the site and even a couple promotional pictures. With these, our Pepsi Town image collection has now doubled. The archive also did have a bunch of legal stuff, including the credits for who made the game. This company is also who uploaded one of the 3 images I found on Google. I tried getting in contact with them through multiple different avenues, but didn't hear back on any of them. And that's it. That is the only information I could find about Pepsi Town. This was a real game that real people made and real people played and enjoyed. And now it's very close to as if it never even existed at all. Lost media is just so insane. Hulala Girls. This one is a fucking mystery. Kind of. Hulala Girls was apparently a virtual world created in 2010 with hula, beach, and surfing themes. The only reason I even know about the game is because of a snapshot of the website's homepage from one of the programmers who helped produce the game's portfolio. Other than that, there is no information on the game. This is where it starts to get weird. There is still a Hulala Girls YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, none of which have any mention to a Hulala Girls game at all, or even any mention of what the Hulala Girls are as a concept. The Hulala Girls YouTube channel has 5 videos, the first uploaded in 2015 and the other 4 uploaded in 2020. The first appears to be a trailer of some kind, maybe even a pilot. The other 4 are profiles on each of the 3 Hulala Girls, Melee, Hannah, and Sky, who all from the sounds of it are voiced by the famous Tara Strong, who voices all of these characters. The YouTube has been inactive since 2020, but the Twitter and Instagram are still active with just weird posts about seashells. What the fuck is going on here? Remember how that screenshot of the website was from a programmer's portfolio? I reached out to that programmer, and he got back to me with as much information as he could remember. He told me that the game was real and that it was set in a hula environment. You could customize your own Hulala Girl, and the currency in-game was shells. He also said the game went through a redesign about halfway through its lifespan, and that the screenshot listed in his portfolio is of the original version. So it was a fucking game. Now what the hell is going on here? Hello. So it's a different day now, as you can tell by my other shirt, and I think I've kind of figured out what's going on here. These Hulala Girls videos seemed so weird at first, but then I thought back to Lauren Faust, the creator of My Little Pony. She got on to Hasbro to make My Little Pony because she went to them with her own concept. This is Milky Way and the Galaxy Girls, Lauren Faust's original IP of a set of dolls that would also have a TV show. Hasbro didn't like it and said, fuck you, make My Little Pony instead. This, I think, is a similar thing to what Hulala Girls is. Hulala Girls on their YouTube channel have a couple channels listed, the one of note being Christy Hui. Christy Hui is the creator of the show Shaolin Chronicles and Shaolin Showdown. This, from the looks of it, is Christy Hui's Milky Way and the Galaxy Girls. I reached out to Christy Hui about the Hulala Girls to see if she could tell me anything about it, what it was back in the day, or what she maybe wants it to be in the future. And she got back to me. She asked me why I wanted to know so much about Hulala Girls, but didn't respond past that. I'm assuming she probably thought I was some investor or network interested in the Hulala Girls, which I'm not. I'm just a little baby YouTuber. But I think it's pretty safe to say that this is what the Hulala Girls is. Some kind of pilot or concept for a TV show. But that still doesn't solve the Hulala Girls website. What was this? How long did this run? Who played this? Why is there nothing recorded about it? I did end up finding this blog post also, with a few more pictures so we can get a bit more of an idea of what the site was about. But other than these and the website image from the portfolio, there's nothing else that I could find about the Hulala Girls virtual world. And that's it. That is every entry on my Lost Virtual World Iceberg, except for the final level. Level 7. The rest. There are so many other virtual worlds that were probably loved by so many kids that I definitely missed on this list. I could never find and cover every single one. Well, I could, but I don't want to. But I hope I covered enough to at least remind you of at least one of them that you played and might have forgotten about. I feel so lucky to have grown up in such an experimental and fun period of the internet, when anybody could ask their parents' permission and log on and go hang out and meet new friends. There was something magical about virtual worlds. Maybe it was just because I was a kid, but I don't think so. There was something about them that just felt really special. Thank you so much for watching this fucking feature-length film of an Iceberg video. I hope you're well. I hope you're doing good in this wonderful October fall season. Halloween's coming up. Spooky things, big scary things. A boo! If you have any ideas for other 2010s internet topics that you want to see me cover, be sure to leave them in the comments. I'm always looking for other cool stuff to cover. And with that, I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a wonderful, wonderful evening. Bye.